All right, let's go, Miss Rebecca. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening. Ms. Boykins, invocation, please.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So, I'm big on quotes. So, I have a few quotes that I would like to share with you. First quote, Aristotle said, "If you would understand anything, observe its beginning and its development." Leonardo da Vinci, "I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Being willing is not enough, we must do." Rabbineth, "Don't limit a child to your own learning, for he was born in another time." Benjamin Franklin, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." We worry about what a child will become tomorrow, yet we forget that he is someone today. You cannot make people learn. You can only provide the right conditions for learning to occur. Vince Goldman said that. The reason why I leave you with those quotes is because they're education quotes. I'm a big believer in thermodynamics. The law of thermodynamics says energy cannot be created or what? Okay, so I was looking for a response because at the end of the day, though you may hear negative things about our district, you may hear negative things about individuals, but what we must do is we must keep positive energy. Because when negative energy comes in, therefore you do not have that complete circle of energy, that positive flow. Understand our children learn from this. So if you're a teacher or anyone, a parent that comes in and you start off with a negative day, understand that energy is now pushed on upon everyone else. So what I say is that we must keep the positive energy going. We must continue to believe in our students. We must continue to lead by example. And this year I can say there will be a lead by example. Thank you everybody for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Boykins. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Boykins. Mr. Cuff, roll call, please.
Yep. Mr. Hobbs?
Present.
Ms. Boykins?
Present.
Ms. Hopkins?
Present.
Mrs. Tritty?
Here.
Mr. Wright? Here. Mr. Phillips? Here. Ms. Quayle is absent. Ms. Richardson? Here. And Ms. Hoff?
Present.
The board members present.
Thank you. All right, it's August. We're back. Mr. Cuff's going to drive for me today because I didn't have a long enough plug. Very exciting. Number one excitement, school funding lawsuit can move forward. Mr. Scarnati was not successful in saying our point was moot to this trial, and we got a resounding, this court case must go forward. This is not to make anyone think that this is going to go fast from here on in. They are going to throw every rock in the road they can to try to trip us up. The House is lawyered up, the Senate's lawyered up, everybody's got a lawyer to fight the kids so they don't have their day in court. It's despicable, but thank you. Next, first day of school for staff. It was fabulous. Thank you for everyone that came. Good speech by Ms. Harvard, Ms. Lisa, and the crowd was great. So thanks for coming, everybody. Penwood football, if you were not on the field, on Friday evening, you missed the 42-10 trouncing in our first game of the year. Everyone was in attendance. It was really pretty crowded. So we have 3 more in a row Friday night games. So I don't know what you're doing, but for $6, it's a lot of fun. And come see your band, your cheerleaders, and your football team. Mr. Curry will be announcing the night games for soccer, both girls and boys, coming up soon. This is the schedule for the boys football team. See August 31st, September 7th, and September 14th. So come on out, it's a lot of fun. This is the schedule for Penwood Marching Band, Once Upon a Time in the West. Our team will be Cowboys. Many thanks to other school districts that have helped us. A huge donation of a drum major stand from Marple Newtown and some sawhorses that are horses in our show from
Unionville.
No, it wasn't Unionville. It was someone that we competed against. I'll come up with the name. Keep going. If you want to know all the Penwood Athletics sports, go to Max Preps, their schedules, and you can see all the schedules. It's fall. There's something almost every day after school. A sneak peek is coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. You see the lists. Come out, see your school, and just stop by. Look for 10-1 curriculum nights in September and October. School supplies, the school supply list, so you can make last minute dash to Target, are on the website. So please bring your child as prepared as humanly possible. Reminder, high school freshmen, so that is your rising 8th graders, must re-register. We will welcome them on next Tuesday, the 4th, and then we will ask them to re-register. So please participate in the process. It's important that we make sure everyone is supposed to be here. Registration for school is by appointment only. Please make an appointment. There's a phone number right there. Please do not do the mad dash on September 4th. Student hours, 8:40 to 3:30. You'll notice that the high school extended by
12 minutes.
12 minutes. That does not extend teacher days, so we were able to do that. We were constantly short minutes at the high school, and that is a great solution. Thank you, team. School opening information, Tuesday, September 4th is the first day of school for grades 1 to 7 and 9 to 12. Wednesday, September 5th, first day of school for grade 8, and then kindergarten starts their rollout and starts Friday, September 7th. Miss Rebecca has kindergarten coming. All right, what else we got? NASA at my library. I talked to Mr. Santora this Saturday. He wants to get green rocks to every child so they can touch them. So we're going to work out a plan for that also. It's big stuff. The NASA stuff is big stuff. So go to the Darby Library and see it, or be in our schools. That's it. You guys know how to get me. I'm always here. I'm very excited for the new school year. I think this might be my 16th. I'm not sure. All right, Ms. Harbert, your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Hoff. Good evening. Today was a great start for our staff to the 2018-19 school year. Today we had approximately 500 of our teachers, IAs, nurses, secretaries, principals, board members, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, SSOs, and maintenance and administration come together at the Steelworkers Conference Hall. And everyone in this office went except for registration, so I appreciate everyone's attendance. Our guest speaker was Gia Marasini. Gia brought a wealth of knowledge to assist us in working with our students, because this year we're going to be focusing on students who are experiencing trauma. As I reported to you earlier, our staff read the book Fostering Resilient Learners this summer in order to gain better insight as to why our students behave and perform academically as they do. During our opening session, I received a message that I needed to contact the Secretary of State's office immediately. Of course, all I could think about was it must be bad news, but it was great news. In our focus and priority schools, and we have 1 priority and 5 focus schools, during the summer, we were given the opportunity to apply for a competitive Title I grant. Only 19 school districts across the state were given this opportunity. This is Title I, Part A, set-aside competitive grant money, and it was designed expressly to provide additional assistance to schools and districts serving high numbers of schools that may need comprehensive support. So yes, the news was we did win the competitive grants for all 6 of the schools that totals to $519,268. grants must be used for certain things. So in brief, I will give you what each school applied for, and school board directors, I'll put it in more detail for you in our update. So Alden Elementary is received part of this grant. They are looking for tutors who will tutor both reading and math, and they're asking for tutors to work from mid-morning till 5 o'clock so that kids can stay after school and get tutoring, and also work with parents. So we're going to invite parents in during that time. Bell Elementary asked for a full-time PBIS coordinator and tutors, so they'll get that. For Colwyn Elementary, I asked for a full-time acting principal. So we'll be getting that. That will be an advertised position. East Lansdowne, we got a full-time math instructional coach. At Park Lane Elementary, we got math tutoring, math professional development, parent meetings regarding math instruction, and purchasing of technology, both software and hardware. Same thing at Walnut. Their grants were very similar. At the district level, we will be getting a district math instructional coach. Now that money is to be utilized to fill in the gaps, and it cannot be utilized to fill in the gaps for our general funding. It is titled federal money, and it must be used the way we wrote the grant. It's money for 1 year, but what the state is looking at and the federal government is looking at is if we're successful with these new things that we're putting in place, we will get to renew every year, and if we can show that our students are making progress, it will be, we'll receive that money going forward. So our goal is to make sure that we're really putting these things in place, and the second thing is we do have to attend certain meetings and do quarterly features, and so we'll include you on that information. We also have the Eagle Grant this year, which is great. The Eagle Grant comes from the DCIU. That is where we get to bring people in to be interns at the elementary schools for principals. So they come in and intern under certain principals. We had that grant last year. It is very specific. It has to be someone who is in an elementary school. So we were awarded 2 positions, and then I had Mr. McKay call and ask if we could have 1 more. So we got 3 Eagle interns again this year. So parents, we're very excited for the new school year. Please reach out to us if you have any concerns or compliments. We'll take those too. Please attend your sneak peek. Each Title I school will be scheduling, as Ms. Hoff said, a curriculum night, and we will get that information to you as soon as we can. I want to let you know our latest school enrollment numbers are I think it's 5,035 students across the district, with 2,759 at the elementary and 2,276 at our secondary schools. Our registration department is still enrolling students, so if you need, as Ms. Hall said, please call and make an appointment. Thank you all very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Harvard, and congratulations to you and your team on the Title I, Part A, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you.
I did get a text from one of our state representatives that said, wow, congratulations. You got more than anyone else. So thank you to you and your team.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any comments? I'm sorry.
That's okay. You have this.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of business meeting July 23rd, 2018?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any, I was there. Any comments or changes to the agenda, the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Remember, everyone is speaking when we do, unless lawyer man's gonna. No student representatives start next week, next month, and special awards start up as soon as we can. Public comments regarding agenda items, are there any? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Nicole Miller, Alden, resident Alden. I have a question about under C, personnel. and professional staff, I'm just noticing all the resignations here, particularly at the high school, but, you know, all over. And I was just wondering, I know we do exit interviews here in our district, but are we getting a clear understanding of why people are resigning? Like, do we know what is the reason? Like, why are they opting to leave the district? Because it's alarming.
So in our pre-session, we talked about getting an Excel sheet with the briefs on the exit interviews. There are exit interviews that are taken, and we'll get that data and we'll look at it.
Is it something that could be shared with the public? I mean, I would like to know. I mean, my children go to school here. I would like to know if
I can ask.
Yeah.
It can't be shared with names, obviously.
Right.
So what we would say is 3 went to private business, 2 moved, etc. From my recollection, it's a fair amount of private business and moving between those two. Any other comments regarding agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
On C3,
Name and where you live.
oh, sorry, Melinda Tax, teacher at Penn Middle School. C3, where it has appointments, administrative staff, there's 2 acting principals. I'm just asking for clarification here. We had received an email within the district that said there will be a teacher on special assignment at the middle school, 1 special assignment, and before we left for the school year. On August 10th, somebody from the middle school had said that there was a posting for 1 acting principal because our vice principal had been shifted to another building, so to Bell. And so then that one was open for applying, but at that moment in time, it was laid out to be 1 acting and 1 teacher on special assignment. I went back on the board minutes, and it's even online now, and this wasn't listed underneath there, but now it's here as 2 acting principals. And my concern is, shouldn't positions be advertised for teachers to apply? Because they might not want teacher on special assignment because there's no pay change, they still stay under teacher contract, but when it moves to acting principal, you're no longer on teacher contract and it looks like they're making more money, so they might have wanted to apply for that. So I'm confused as to why 1 position was posted, not the other.
Mr. Conley, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer it?
Well, we proposed for 1 acting assistant principal. The principal at the building had requested several times to Ms. Harbert that the position be 2 acting assistant principals, not a teacher on special assignment. That was his request. So
then in terms of what can we do for because now there's 2 principals there, but the teachers couldn't apply, and according to our contract, all positions have to be posted, right, or not?
They were posted, it was posted as a teacher as an acting principal. From that, we took all applicants from that, and you can, there we've made the decision, those people who were certified, we would then make that decision using those applicants. Frequently, even when we post for teachers, we may have several elementary positions, and so we do the interviews and choose from that pool.
I get that. What I'm saying is people might not have applied because they didn't know it was an acting position, like teacher on special
But this was
assignment.
acting principal. We put that, and everybody who wanted to be an acting principal applied.
So instead of picking 1.
We picked 2.
And then the next item would be number 3 for the supervisor for special education. I attended a diversity meeting this summer, and Mr. Wright was here, and we talked about when we were going through the interview process that teachers would be allowed to be a part of the 2nd round. And I volunteered my time to come and to sit in on the interviews or just offer it up. I didn't receive a phone call or other teachers that I know of. I don't know of anybody that sat through on the 2nd round. Were teachers a part of this interview process for the special ed position of supervisor? The 2nd round.
Mr. Conley? I'm not sure. I wasn't in on those interviews.
no, we didn't have teachers as part of that.
And what we agreed to was that there were administrators in the building to make sure we had 2nd round with teachers in them.
No, during the diversity meeting, we agreed to, because the special ed supervisor was overall the whole district, that we would get teachers from every part because it affects us all. to sit in on the interview. And I'm just disappointed because we're supposed to work together, and I'm willing, and a lot of us are willing, but we have to feel like we're a part of the process. So I'm just concerned that we sat here. I mean, I attended a lot of meetings. I mean, it's my summer, and I'm off, but I care about our kids. I care about my colleagues. I care about this district. This is my career. I've been here a long time. But, if we're offering our time, I would like to be a part of the process. And once again, we weren't.
Mr. Conlon, that's a very good point. We talked about it, said we were going to move forward. Even I wasn't notified. So we've been meeting for a year and a half with the diversity process. We have an outstanding committee, but at the end of the day, we want to see the results, and are we moving forward and being transparent? So as of this moment, in order to really move this school district forward, you can see we have a lot of resignation. There may be many reasons why, but there are also good educators here who love this district that we're not looking at to hire. But we're hiring those who using us as a stepping stone.
Okay.
And so, let me finish.
No, it's not.
Oh, but let me finish. I'm almost finished. So what I'm saying is because as the president, it's your job to make sure whatever agreement that we make, that we follow through, so we don't have anyone coming here and saying why they weren't involved.
Yeah.
So as of today, are we going to move forward? We're going to keep the promise that we made.
So I think that we
No, I'm
have.
asking Mr. Khan.
Oh, okay, but since you made me responsible, I'd like to answer. Which is, I think we need to look at this position was not typically a group interview. Okay, this was not, it wasn't a building principal, it's not a director, this is a sub-director. So typically this one would not have been in the past a group interview. So I think that we should sit down in diversity and have a personnel committee and say, these are the titles of the positions that we want to make sure is a group interview. And then I think we can go forward, because it was not clear to me that this position would have been handled differently.
I think you're missing the point.
Yes.
The point is, right now, I'm going to pass out some literature. The point is that we made some very bad appointments. And what I'm saying, we made some very bad appointments, and some of the appointments not particularly being made that whether the person is qualified or committed to this district, somehow it seems to be made that it's on a personality. So what I'm saying is we want to open the process so there is a fair and equitable process that we can move forward and make this the best district in
We all share
the
that
state.
same goal.
So what I'm saying is we got to take the personality out of this.
Okay.
So we're going to sit down and talk. That's what we got to discuss.
Got it. Got it, 100%. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes?
Randy Carpenter, Darby, Philadelphia teacher. Just to piggyback on Ms. Tax, we did have the diversity meeting. Ms. Huff, you weren't in attendance that day. And when we talked about it, we talked about how we did principal and assistant principal. When we compared the principal to the special education director and the assistant principals to the supervisors of special education. And we talked about the process, and Mr. Brock, where's he at? Is he around? Mr. Brock, he even spoke up and he said, well, moving forward, let's not go back into the past, let's move forward with consistency. And then someone asked, when was the next supervisor? And we said June 18th. And then we said, well, second round, we're gonna move forward. We're bringing the stakeholders, we're gonna bring in parents, board members, teachers, students. And then Mr. Conley made the reference that, well, some teachers are not available during December. So then Ms. Tax stood up and did her spiel about being here 13 years and that she would be willing to sacrifice her summer and come in. And moving forward, we were all under the impression that the second round, this would happen during the second round. But we're just thrown off that the chair of the personnel committee is not made aware of this. And we're also thrown off by the fact that you advertised one acting assistant principal position, and then you told us one acting, and then there was one teacher on special assignment. Teacher on special assignment and acting are not the same thing. If you refer to your agenda, number 1 for that, this man went from $62,000 to $92,000 overnight. And as a board, for you to come and say, you're gonna raise our taxes, but this is a new position and a $30,000 raise. And what you also need to understand is that Act 93, the health insurance and insurance costs are different than the teachers. So there's more of a cost to the community. So we just took, even though we raised taxes, we said, okay, forget teacher on special assignment. We are going to take and make somebody acting principal a new position. And then also, in addition to teacher on special assignment, we were supposed to do one for the middle school, one for Cypress. You said you were hoping to have an elementary math person and that you would also like to consider an Ardmore Avenue person and an ESL person. I look at this agenda and we only have a person in Cypress. What happened to the middle school person? What happened to the other people that applied? And what was the process for choosing these applicants? But we had several applicants that had tons of credentials, administrative experience, administrative certifications, doctorates that were passed over. And we all know in Pennsylvania, if you go to patims.com, you can type in any teacher's last name or first name, and you can receive all of their certifications. Or you can just go to where it says school district, and you'll type in William Penn School District. Every teacher there will populate with all their certifications. And you'll see who's who and what's what, because there's something else going on there, but move forward. Also, when you guys talked about Act 93 positions for your principals, your bare minimum qualifications were, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 years of satisfactory teaching experience, was that one? And the other one was the administrative certification. Now, who's responsible for checking on the 5 years and the admin certification? Okay, and you also may remember, maybe it was about 8-9 years ago when we got audited by the state and we had people in here that were admin and had expired certs. So all I do is ask you guys to do your due diligence and let's just double check the candidates we're hiring as administrators. As a public, I'm challenging you to double check the candidates that are being hired as administrators. And you make sure they meet those requirements of 5 years teaching experience. And make sure you understand the difference between a long-term sub with educational obligation and a day-to-day sub who can't be in a position for more than 20 days and be observed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none? Yes, Mr. King?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Rafi K. Gaten. I was a little surprised to see the solicitor up for a new appointment on this upcoming agenda. I'm pretty surprised because I think our solicitor relationship has probably been one of the most competent partnerships this district has for a number of years. Our solicitor relationship has supported us through our landmark Supreme Court arguments over the years, as well as has defended us in frivolous charter school applications. And so I'm confident that this board will do the right thing and retain our current solicitor. They've been a very competent partner. They've been a very present partner. And I think, changing that relationship would only weaken this board.
Yes, Mr. Brown?
Yes, I called in earlier about a non-agenda item. Would that be at this point?
No, this is agenda.
So when would the non-agenda item be? Towards the end?
It's later in the agenda.
I didn't see.
Check out the orange one.
Oh, no, I got the white one and the yellow one. Okay,
Yeah.
all right then.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, hearing none. Any communications, Mr. Coe?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Committee reports. Community relations. A1, community eligibility provision, free school meals for all students. In short, that means your child is going to get fed breakfast and lunch here. No questions asked. It also qualifies all of our children for free college waivers on applications. A2 Music Instrumental Night is Thursday, September 13th at 6:30 at Penwood Middle School. All students in grades 4 to 12 are eligible for instrumental music. Take advantage of it, it's awesome. A3 Children's Health Insurance Program. For more information on CHIP, just Google it, please. A4 state representatives are hosting back to school night, back to school events. Miss PA State Representative Joanna McClinton is holding one Tuesday, September 4th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Darby Recreation Center. PA State Representative Margot Davidson is holding a back to school picnic and book bag giveaway on Saturday, September 8th, 3 to 5. Both of these need, I believe Ms. Davidson's needs pre-registration, so please call her office and reserve your book bag. Ms. McClayton does not say that she needs a reservation. A5, the William Penn School District newspaper is going to drop pretty soon, so give it a look. A6 sneak peek, as both Ms. Harbert and I stated. Tomorrow, Tuesday, August 28th, is sneak peek for Alden Bell, East Lansdowne, Evans, Park Lane, and Walnut Street. Wednesday, August 29th, is for Ardmore Avenue, Colwyn Elementary, Penwood Middle, and Penwood High School, both campuses. Alrighty, and A7, mandatory re-registration for high school freshmen. That means if you graduated 8th grade last year, you must re-register for 9th grade. Thank you. Do we have any questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
On sneak peek, they're calling for extreme heat tomorrow, and you have it scheduled till 8:30.
Right.
Is there any way we can get out there to do the heat? We don't have air conditioning in our schools.
Right.
Can we put out to the principals that if parents and students can't handle the heat, do we kind of let them out go early?
Well, in the sneak peek, it's really not a meeting or anything like
No,
that.
no.
So it's just a matter of visiting the classrooms and seeing their classroom and picking up schedules and things.
So I'm
So
just concerned with
it's
the heat
not,
index.
they don't have to stay the whole 2 hours.
Okay. I'll make sure.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
In the CEP program, which is a great program, is there any data as to the percentage of kids that utilize this program or take advantage of it?
How many kids reading?
This is Assistant Service Director here with the William Penn School District at Airmark. So last year was our first full year of CEP, and we saw a 62% increase in breakfast. We find that the children want to eat in the morning, and now that it's provided in the classroom, they eat quite a bit more. So it has increased our meals and breakfast. There has not been a major change in lunch. We did see an increase in lunch at the high school since the students didn't have to pay for lunch in the high school. The elementary is pretty much the same, but the breakfast has had a drastic increase, and it's been a very productive program. We've had parents call to thank us for the program, and we find that the students, we've heard from nurses that they're not receiving as many visits with belly aches where the students may have just in fact been hungry. So we're very glad that we took the diligent effort to get the CEP program here, and it will continue. We're here to feed the kids.
Mr. Rice, will the board have a copy of what you handed to the public?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So can we have it?
I'm gonna do that. You have one, can you pass it to the public, please? The public
Okay.
will get one last one. John, just pass it to everybody else, please.
So one of the other more positive aspects of the CEP program, in the years past, we always had we were running negative balances with
Right.
lunches.
Right.
So what we've done now is we've eliminated that, and kids are more, they'll come forth more to eat, and we don't have the issues in the year with negative balances or things like that that linger around.
Okay, thank you very much.
Question, Jen, may I ask one question?
Yes, ma'am.
The lady that's doing the breakfast, how you doing, sweetheart? Are we watching, and I know we get a breakfast bar, juice, and what have you, are we watching the amount of sugar we're giving these kids?
So everything is mandated by the state. We follow all of the mandates that we're giving. So everything is 100% juice. The sugar intakes are definitely counted by the state, so we're not able to serve anything in excess of what is allowed by the state. Since we are CEP, we get audited quite frequently. The audits come by even to check our menus, our food, our temperatures, things of that nature, and we've been successful in passing every single one since we started the CEP program.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? All right, education, Ms. Boykins, please.
B1, adoption of new course names for life skills courses. B2, Mercy Fitzgerald Hospital independent contractor agreement for physical therapy. B3, agreement for human growth and developmental education services for special education students. B4, agreement with UHS of Doylestown LLC. B5, release and settlement agreement, and B6, Ames Web licenses.
Thank you, Ms. Boykins. Any questions from the, may I have a second? Any questions from the Board of School Board Directors on the education agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you. Mr. Wright, Personnel Committee, please.
Thank you. C1 resignation, administrative staff, Ryan Kaiser, Assistant Business Manager, Green Avenue. To Yolanda Rodriguez, Successful Art Coordinator. B, professional staff. C2, retirement. Ursula Wood, Assistant Principal, Penwood Middle School, effective November 30th, 2018. Ms. Wilson has been with the district since August 23, 2005. C3, appointment staff. John Davis, Sidney Dickens, acting assistant principal. Professional staff, which is very numerous, this month. Support staff, elementary math curriculum writer, Matthew Linings, or Dr. Linings, instructional facilitator, data and curricular development. Special education, QBS, safety care training for trainers, band camp, special education, national autism conference, supplemental contract, C4, changes in assignment, C5, leave of absence, and that is what I'd like to add. Last month I passed out to the board members, never got a chance to pass out to the public, Bell Avenue. I'm very happy tonight that many of the Yaden residents are there, but I'd like for them to visit Bell Avenue. I see a lot of the leadership is here tonight. And I've been mentioning that at Bell Avenue, we have a leaning tree. The tree is leaning. And someone would say, okay, Mr. Wright, why are you focusing on a leaning tree? That means that the former principal that was there didn't care or concern enough to either replant the tree or to bring it, cut it down. And also, didn't even finish.
Unfortunately, this isn't an agenda item.
No, what I'm saying
and
is-
I've asked the school board directors, all of them, to
but what I'm
stay
saying-
on agenda.
Yeah, but we are on the agenda, but the bottom line is,
This
you
is not-
listen, what I'm saying to you is, if we're going to move forward,
Point of order, Mr. Wright.
Yeah.
Your issue is, our agenda item is personnel. A tree has nothing to do with personnel,
No, what I'm
sir.
saying is.
So can we stay on
No,
the
but
agenda?
tree,
You can bring it up afterwards.
You
All right.
can bring it up
You can bring it up
afterwards,
afterwards.
but
We're
this-
just, it's just not the time right now, but bring it up afterwards.
all right, what I'm saying,
What does the tree have to do with personnel?
Wait,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mrs.
all right, hold on
Wright.
a second.
No, this
What does it
is
have
an
to do?
agenda item, so I'm gonna stop
Yeah,
it
but
right
does it have to
now,
do with personnel?
and we will happily discuss it after the meeting,
What meeting?
this meeting.
Oh, no, we're not going to discuss after this meeting. We've been here long enough. All I'm saying to you is, we're talking about moving forward. We're talking about, I'm just bringing up a point to show, we're going to move forward. We've got to make sure that the person that we have for assistant principals and building principals have to understand part of their job is the facilities. And I don't think that's been reiterated enough.
Okay, thank you for
So-
making your point.
That is
So
my
you
point.
want to make sure that the principals keep a handle on their properties,
Right.
and we understand that.
Because I
Thank
am
you.
going to mention Bell Avenue on the property system, we'll follow the agenda, but what I'm saying is, we got to really make them understand about facilities.
Got it, got it.
And I don't think we emphasize that in any principal interview.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, so,
May I have a second? for
excuse
the-
me, what I'm saying is, what I mentioned, that in Bell Avenue, when we talked about, we want to find out why people are leaving and why we not making the right appointments. Everybody have a snapshot. I mean.
Mr. Wright, we're gonna stop right now, because this is not an agenda item. And I'm happy to talk about it. We talked about it in our July meeting. We discussed this. It's just not an actionable item right now.
But what are we going to do about it?
Well, so right now, there's an acting principal
I know that.
in Bell Avenue. Interviews will be held. I'm sure we can get a schedule from personnel to replace the actings in Penwood Middle and Bell Avenue.
But see, the concern I have right now, I really appreciate, you're saying that we want to move on. But you have been a part of some of the concerns that we've been raising, we never particularly moved forward. One of the reasons what Mr. Carpenter was trying to reiterate, when we had meetings.
Mr.
No, let me
Wright,
finish now. This is part of personnel, what was
it's not
discussed.
an actionable item
No,
on the
no.
agenda. And
Yes, it
I've
is.
been asked by
Yes, it
the
is.
board of
No, what I'm saying is,
directors,
it's an actual item. But what I'm saying is,
which agenda?
no,
item
what I'm
does this
saying
have
is,
to
no,
do
let me
with?
finish. What I'm saying is, we aborted. We went with an internal, we agreed under the diversity committee that we would have an internal personnel interview for those who work here for the district.
Right.
And then we would have
What
an
position
external.
do we?
No, let me finish now. We had an external interview for those who not working for the district. And the external personnel meeting for Bell Avenue was aborted.
No, Mr. Wright, what we said, because we found out about the resignation.
I'm not talking about that. I'm
In
saying
July.
what I'm saying is,
When are you talking?
the problem, what I'm saying is, what the public is saying, we say we're gonna do A, B, and C, and we barely do A.
Mr. Wright.
So, no, you can't just keep saying this right. All I'm saying is, you didn't speak up when I mentioned that last year, that when we made Ms. Kramer the principal, and I said that interview was aborted, that we didn't have the external interview, but we had qualified applicants who looked like me.
Okay.
So what I'm saying.
I can't speak for what happened in 2016.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't right now, but we're
Yes,
gonna
you
move
can.
on from this item.
No, what I'm saying, yes,
May
you
I
can.
have a second for
No,
the
what I'm saying.
I
personnel?
wanted just to prove your part, so I second, I'm
Thank
second,
you.
okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
So we're gonna vote on the agenda right now for personnel. All those in favor?
So that was what I wanted to lead into is, can we, I'm okay with everything, but I just would like to separate C3, the appointments, in exec session, I couldn't get it out, but Jane already knows, I've talked to her. But I would like to separate, the appointments. And Mr. Wright, I'm not trying to cut you off, I was just trying to
Which do you want to?
move your.
Can we do this?
Well, you should be able to sever,
He said, okay. I'm just asking.
because
But to be
according,
clear, it's C3A, right? You're not talking all of C3.
I'm sorry, yes, I am not talking all of C3. What I'm talking specifically about is the appointments of C1, C2, and, C1 and C2.
C3A1 and C3A2.
Yeah.
The two acting principals.
Yes, the two acting principals.
So there's a motion to sever that from the rest of the personnel committee. Is there a second on the
Second.
motion to
But
sever?
why is it most separate?
She asked for it.
I know, but why? For what
She
reason?
doesn't have to say why.
I would like to separate both of them, because when we had the opportunity to interview, like when we were looking for original principals, some school board directors were invited to sit in the interviews, if everyone remembers. During the interview process, there was people that names are listed that I actually sat in the interview, and I feel like as far as appointing people, there are different candidates out there. I can't state directly of what I would like to
Ms.
say
Boykins, you understand-
because it's a personnel matter.
Ms.
Yes.
Boykins, there was another set of interviews altogether for acting.
Yes,
None of us sat in on it.
hold on. I'm not talking about, what I'm talking about is that for the principal's position, we had school board directors that sat in. I wasn't talking about the acting one. I wasn't here for this process.
Right.
But what I will say is, people's names that are on here were actually some of the candidates that were the original interview process.
Right.
In the original interview. So some of these names listed, they were there originally.
No, so when is originally? I'm
So
confused.
when we were looking for principals,
When?
Vice principals
when we were looking for vice principals
in February or
in
March.
February, there are about, I want to say 6 or
The high school
The high
assistant
school.
principals.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we're
right,
looking for the high school assistant principals.
right,
The candidates, some of the candidates now that we have on this list,
Right.
I was here to sit and witness
Right.
as a school board director, them for our school.
right.
So in the interview process, there were names that came out of the interview process.
Right.
Remember that our top picks.
Did they apply for these positions?
So they applied for the assistant principal position at the high school level.
Okay,
And now what we're doing is that we are appointing this,
But they interviewed again.
and even though they interviewed again, if school board directors were there and present during the interview process, I think they will understand why I'm doing this.
no, so what I'm trying to understand is, so February happens and there's assistant principals interviews for the high school.
Yes,
So then we post acting assistant principals for the middle school.
yes,
And you're saying that you want the people that, so whoever applied for that position was interviewed?
whoever, what I'm saying is that, to make it short, we are appointing people who we turned away. We are appointing people to positions who we already turned away.
For that one job?
Yes, so
Okay.
that's why I would like, I don't want to step over the line of talking personnel
Right.
matters,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is that we are basically someone that we turned away from a position, we're now appointing them in the position that we originally turned them away from.
No, this is a
it's
different
not. It's a
position.
different
It was for, hear what I'm saying, at the high school level, we were looking for an assistant principal, is that correct?
Yes, two,
We're looking for 2 assistant principals.
Right.
If I look on this list,
yes.
even though even though we're looking for middle school, this is still an assistant principal's position. Am I
It's
correct?
acting. It
It's
is
acting.
acting.
It's
For 1
acting.
year.
Totally understand. But it's still the assistant principal's
Right,
position.
I think you're equating the high school and the middle school on level ground, and I'm not.
Well, to me, to me, and I don't know if other school board directors agree, but when you say a level ground, I feel like our high school principal and our middle school principal just need to be just as stronger. So it doesn't, you can't say it's like here or there. A principal is a principal. And what our expectations out of our middle school principal and our high school principal, yeah, the high school principal may have more responsibility, but still, I was there in the interview process. I witnessed the people that applied for this, and I'm just trying to tell you,
Got it, got
it's
it.
not,
I don't,
it doesn't align. It doesn't align.
So will anyone second the motion?
I did
Is that right?
second.
Before we get there, she made a request, who all was interviewed, Mr. Conley can answer who was interviewed or who had the opportunity for this position, Mr. Conley.
we're not gonna do that.
No, I'm saying,
We're
I'm not saying.
I don't want to do candidate names.
No, I'm not names,
Yeah.
he can say, but he can say that some of the people here did interview.
Okay, thank you. All right,
It's
so
complicated.
we're gonna sever
That's all it's
A1 and 2. So,
1 and 2 are roll call votes.
yes, correct. So, all those in favor of everything except for C3A1 and 2? All those in favor of everything but CA1 and 2? Anyone against? Thank you. Okay, now a roll call vote on C3A1.
Okay. Mrs. Fitty,
Come back to me, man, because I'm still trying to ascertain all this right now.
Mr. Wright,
Let's come back to me.
No, we
Go ahead, go ahead.
Ms. Boykins,
Yes.
Mr. Hobbs,
Yes.
Ms. Quayle is absent. Ms. Phillips, Ms. Hopkins,
Yeah, okay, yes.
Ms. Fitty,
Yes vote to have them in or no vote to have them out?
Yes, talk
Yes.
to
Have a minute.
Yes.
Then, let me ask the question, why are we doing this?
No, it's a vote now.
Yeah, I was in the interview process, okay? So, I'm not gonna vote no, I'm gonna vote yes.
Okay, great.
But this shouldn't be going on right now.
I agree.
I'm not disrespecting anybody,
I got you.
okay? I just find if we interviewed people, and we think they're the best candidates, the only thing I don't like is acting. We hired for assistant principals, okay?
So, got it.
Mr. Wright?
Yes for 1 and 2, and no for 3.
This is only for
Three
one.
was-
Now it
three's already been
wasn't,
approved.
now it wasn't sequestered,
What?
severed.
C3A1 and 2 were
Oh, 1 and 2?
Yeah,
Okay, but what about one?
that was approved in your last vote because that was the rest of the person.
I'm a yes,
Ms.
Mr. Reed.
Richardson?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yeah.
Okay, this is for 2. Mrs. Fitty?
Yes.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Boykins?
No.
Mr. Hobbs?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
No.
Ms. Richardson?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
What was the number?
Oh, you had 2, no, 6-2. 6-2.
Mr. Hobbs, property committee, please.
Property, it was just 2 items here. One was the work over at the high school, up on the stage, the work done there. There was additional work that had to be done. It cost more money, but it was offset, so it didn't cost us
Excuse me, please.
anything to get that work done. D2 was the recreation in cooperation with East Lansdowne, with a little hot lot in the back that East Lansdowne was willing to take it over and spruce it up, and we were in agreement with that. It's a great little lot. I'm sure it was very beautiful in its time, but it's dilapidated, and the work to be done on it would be appreciated.
Great. We're thrilled to have East Lansdowne Borough as a partner in that top up. May I have a second, please?
Were there any questions on the property today?
I have to get a second first.
Okay.
Yes.
Again.
Ms. Fitty?
On D1, change orders. Is this the only change order we're gonna see? Are we gonna incur more?
This is it. The work is completed over there. This
Can I
is
have
it.
that guy sign off if it's the last change order?
Yes, yes, we went through, we did a walkthrough, it is completed, yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you. Ms. Richardson, budget, please?
Can I
Yes,
comment
sir.
on the property today? I mean,
Sure.
about Bell Avenue.
It's not on the agenda. If there's a specific property issue, do you want to take it up with Airmark in the back?
No.
Okay, well, it's not on the agenda. and you-
But could I bring it under new business?
No, the place to add it,
No, you can't. I can bring it under new business.
no, you can. The place to add things
Mr.
to.
Time, can I bring it under new business?
The way your committee structure is set up right now, if you're talking about an actionable item, it really ought to be introduced at the committee level before it goes to the board. So it ought to go first to property committee, and then property committee moves it out to the full board. If you're not talking about an action item, there is a period at the end of the meeting where frankly, under new business, anybody can, or under public comment on non-agenda items, anybody who wants to make a comment can. But if it's an action item, it is supposed to go through the committee first.
Or it could be added in the pre-session. But I've been asked by multiple school board directors to stop agenda adding at the regular session. So I'm trying to honor that and follow Robert's rules, and we went through the entire pre-session. No comment about Bell Avenue was made in either case, personnel or property. So, you
But I
know,
can make it under new business.
sure, make it under public
Right,
comment.
right,
Great,
If it's not an action item, I would say under public comment for non-agenda, would make.
right.
right.
Okay, Ms. Richardson, budget please?
E1 is the treasurer's report, E2 is the list of bills. E3 is the tax abatement resolution for Simpson Garden, 2 Lansdowne, and I'll read it to you. A resolution.
Please.
I'm sorry, where are you?
I didn't hear.
She's on page 18.
The yellow.
A resolution regarding tax abatement for the proposed Simpson Gardens 2, which will be located at 84 North Lansdowne Avenue, Lansdowne, PA, has been approved by the Lansdowne Borough Council. School board approval is being sought by Simpson Senior Service, who proposes to construct a 4-story building to provide 41 affordable rental units to households aged 62 and older. They request a 50% tax reduction for the first 10 years, then gradually increasing the rate 10% per year, resulting in paying 100% of the tax bill in the 15th year. This is to adopt the tax abatement resolution for Simpson Garden 2 to be located at 84 North Lansdowne Avenue, Lansdowne, PA.
Thank you. May I have a second on the budget agenda, please?
Oh, I want a second E3. Okay?
No.
Can you just second the whole thing and then comment?
Yeah, second.
But I don't want to agree with the,
Okay,
You can vote no.
You can vote no to the bill list, but that
Okay.
doesn't stop your second. All right. So do I have a second?
I
Okay,
second.
great. Okay, so all those in favor?
Comments.
Oh, sorry, comments on the budget, please. Your turn.
Yeah, okay, I was away, but I didn't get the treasurer's report till today because it wasn't available when I got back. And I've been looking at the bill list. I see several issues, and Jeff, I don't know when you have time, and I've always said this, I'm gonna vote no on the bill list and the treasury report.
Got it. Any other questions from the Board of School Board Directors? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Anyone against? Okay, Ms. Boykins, are you okay? Okay. Mr. Hobbs, are you okay? We have to verbally say,
Oh,
yeah.
like you did for
Aye.
me last week. Aye.
Okay,
Were we going,
yes.
were we gonna make
Yes.
sure that it was
Yes.
the 50%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, aye.
Okay. All right, thank you, everyone, right? We're done then.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Policy Committee, Ms. Fitty.
Yes. F1, second reading, reverse policy of the numbers you see there. F2, first reading, reverse policy of the numbers there. I met with Dr. Bruno today, and we did go over some policies that already were implemented. And we will be meeting again in regards to the dress code. So right now, that's where I have it.
Got it. Thank you. May I
You're
have a
welcome.
second for the policy agenda, please?
Can I second that or no?
No,
You-
I'm first.
you-
I can do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hobbs. All those in, any comments? Sorry. Any comments? Okay. All those in favor of F1 and F2?
Aye.
Anyone against? Mr. Cuff, could you mark me as a no on 221-1, please?
Yes, got it.
Thank you.
221.
-1.
Dash one.
All right. New business. I'd like to call for nominations for the appointment of solicitor, please. Nominate?
I nominate Sweet Stevens and Cassius again.
Great. Are there any other nominations?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Mike Pupio.
Got it. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we're going to close nominations for the appointment of solicitor. Mr. Cuff, can you call it, please?
This vote is for favor of Sweet, Stevens, Katz, and Williams. Mrs. Fitty?
No.
I know, but the way they said it.
Alphabetical order?
No, not necessarily.
Never a yes or no, they should both either
They-
Pupio or
You
Sweet
have to nominate
Stevens.
one candidate is what it is, not an option of two. It should be it should be a nomination of one candidate, then vote on that
You
person.
can do it either way.
Well,
You can do it by,
no
you vote
problem.
for who you vote for.
Okay. This vote, this roll call vote is for Sweet Steve, to appoint Sweet Stevens, Katz, and Williams as a solicitor. Mrs. Fitty?
No.
Mr. Wright?
Come back to me.
Ms. Boykins,
No.
Mr. Hobbs,
No.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins,
Which one are we voting on?
Sweet Stevens.
Yes.
Ms. Richardson,
Yes.
Ms. Hoff,
Yes.
sorry, Mr. Wright.
Yes.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes votes, 1, 2, 3 no votes. So motion passes 5-3. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. PSBA elections for 2000.
Excuse me,
Yes, sir.
can we make comment on why we voted? We just vote and just move on?
We can. Can we separate? Yes. But it's not on the agenda to separate. Issues like solicitor, education, what have you. If I know it was gonna be on the agenda, I guess I shouldn't have been on vacation. I would have separated solicitor for education, solicitor for contract negotiation, what have you. But because it's not there, we can't do anything.
All right, PSB election, officer elections for 2019. Do your research on these folks. The only one I know is Amy Goldman from Radnor Township. She is fabulous, probably one of the top 4 or 5 school board directors I've ever met, doing really good work for all of the state.
So,
Yes, sir.
is Mr. Cobb not making the selection?
I will actually, there's actually no other options there. So yes, I will actually go through and put the vote through for everyone.
Right.
Yes.
So all those in favor of the PSBA officer elections as presented on our agenda? Anyone against?
Can I say
Yeah,
something?
no one made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A motion to make, and you can combine them all. You can-
Okay,
you can do
so
one
here's the
single-
motion,
Yeah.
and someone will first and second. This motion is for the PSBA officer elections for 2019. And they are A, President-elect Eric Wolfgang, B, Vice President Art Levinowitz, C, Eastern at-large Maura Burry, Section 8 Advisor Amy Goldman, and E, Insurance Trust Board Richard Frickus, William Lakoff,
There are 3 candidates, so.
right, and Nathan Mans. Can I have a first on that?
Can I have an answer question?
Yes. Well, first and second, and then we'll question.
All right, that's
Just
fine.
like normal. First, anyone? Second? Great, now question.
Well, it's already second and been approved, but I'd like to know when
No,
we're
it hasn't. We
gonna,
haven't
I'd like to
voted.
know when we're gonna meet these people that we're voting for.
Yeah, so,
I mean, why should I vote for them? I don't even know who the heck they are.
right,
I mean,
so,
I'm in county, I gotta go to each house and actually sell myself and tell them what I'm worth. I don't know these people, so
Right.
I abstain.
so, okay, you can abstain. It's our responsibility when we get this information to Google them and do our due diligence.
But it's, okay, I get that, it's your responsibility. But if it's your responsibility is to bring them in our house, let me meet them at face value, it's okay. I like John Doe, John whatever, Jane Doe, and let me do that way.
The PSBA information that we all receive,
I received that.
Right.
But that doesn't mean, that's black and white paper.
got it,
All right, I want to meet the people in person.
got it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against?
Me.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Excuse me, Madam President.
Yes.
I know you're moving very fast with the solicitor, but you need to explain to the public how long is this term and when it starts, when does it end?
So I think it starts now and it goes for a term of a year.
The public need to know that.
Okay, so public, it starts now and it goes for a term of a year. We've now separated from the reorganization meeting.
Oh, because, so now it's,
Correct.
well, because it normally would just go from reorganization
Right,
to reorganization.
Correct.
Now you're saying it's 6 months off.
Correct.
That's correct.
Correct. This is actually, quite frankly, a good thing. Because when you're new on a school board, to come in and vote for a solicitor that you've never met,
Good point.
never worked with, never done anything with, it's a good thing to separate them. A lot of school boards do. So that was I actually think, if I may, that the whole experience of interviewing a solicitor was a very positive one. I learned a lot about a lot of different things that I hope that this school board implements going forward.
You mean the interview process of the solicitor itself?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. All solicitors.
I had a little problems with that because I was one of the people interviewed, and there were some comments made. I'm not going to say them in front of the public, but as far as I go, and doing interviews prior that I've been here 14 years, that didn't go so good. That's my opinion.
We've had the
Thank
same
you,
one
Ms.
though
Whitney.
for 8 years, right?
I don't know exactly how long you've been here.
What's that?
That's about right.
So we've had the same solicitor for
Yeah.
8 years.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, reports from Delaware County Community College, Mr. Ray? Oh, sorry, solicitor's report. Oh, I skipped you, sorry.
Thank you for the reappointment. We had an executive session this evening to discuss tax assessment litigation, delinquent tax litigation, and 3 separate personnel issues.
Thank you. Is there any old business, Mr. Cobb?
No, ma'am.
And we already did the new business.
You want to discuss Bell Avenue, like you said?
No, you're gonna do, next page. First, we're gonna do Delaware County Community College.
Delaware County Community College don't have any report this month.
Okay, thank you.
We will have one next month.
Thank you. Ms. Finney, Delaware County Intermediate Unit.
Yes, I was
Report?
there last month, and Ashtonville Tech is up and almost running. Who's the lady that went to the robotics? Where's she at? She in the audience?
She left.
Did she leave?
Yeah.
Well, they're actually having a robotics class there.
Yes.
Great.
And I'm telling you, I wish my kids were back in Ashton because they have a lot more to offer than what they did years ago. So the project is moving along smoothly, calmly, and I love being the board there.
Great, thank you, Ms. Finney. Delaware County Legislative Council. By next month, I will have a script and a call sheet for those that wish to call. Right now, first on our brain is the funding lawsuit. All energies on the funding lawsuit, please. And by next time, I will have our next meeting for the intermediate unit is September 12th, and we will reconvene. We took the summer off. I believe also, Dr. Bruno, where are you? Dr. Bruno sent the school board directors some information on a Senate bill that would change testing.
Graduation requirements, so that there were local measures included instead of the existing keystones.
Thank you. More on the Keystone debacle. Okay, comments from citizens regarding non-agenda items. Yes, sir.
How you doing? Jim Burrows, 194 West Essex Avenue, Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. So I'd like to talk about your tax collection. So you have a system, and that system involves basically mailing a check to a Philadelphia P.O. box. And as a consequence, there is no opportunity for taxpayers such as myself to go and actually give a check and get a receipt. I can't certify mailing. So in other words, there is no way for me to prove if the check gets lost that I actually sent a check. So it doesn't really require anything more than assigning someone to be a cashier. It doesn't require a tax collector. It doesn't require any of those things. I believe Mr. Khan's a lawyer. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Anyone here can act as their agent for this school district. And you can accept the payment and you can issue a receipt. There's no requirement to be a tax collector or anything special. So as a consequence, and I believe you represent Lansdowne?
Correct.
What's that?
Correct.
Yeah. So what happened is we had a tax collector, Joe Irvin. I guess he checked out. So a lot of people were trying to call him to try to resolve some tax issues last year, and he got nothing. And William Smith, who's the current tax collector, went out and, when everybody got the certified letter, and I got fined $700 because
I could not prove, and there was really no way for me to prove, that there was an error made on the collection side. That was 4 months ago. 81, or I'm sorry, more than 80 people in Lansdowne alone fell into this. Same story. Okay. Did you know this, by the way?
I do have a problem with some of your numbers, but yes, I informed myself.
Okay. Did you know 4 months ago? I'm just curious because.
No.
Okay.
No. So I stand by our policy of how we collect our taxes. It was done, it's very similar to how other school districts do it currently. It's how you pay your county taxes.
So I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
They can accept an electronic transfer. So can Upper Darby, so can Upper Darby Borough. And if I go to Upper Darby Borough, I can walk in and a human being will give me a receipt.
Right. We're not the borough.
Okay, but you said that's the way.
I said school districts.
Okay. Upper Darby School District, same way. We can do electronic transfers. In fact, my bank has already immediately teed up the school tax for Upper Darby. I own houses in Philadelphia, obviously one in Lansdowne. Every school district, every government office, every place I go, I can do an electronic payment and at least talk to a human being and issue a receipt. It's common business practice. The other thing I want to say is, I'm a small business. I have 3 employees on a good week. I can accept electronic payments. This is inexcusable. I'm sorry. You're holding people accountable for a system that is fraught with failure. Now, Mr. Cuff and I had some words a couple of weeks ago. He did call me, and whoever got him to call me, thank you. But I know Mr. Cuff knew about this 4 months ago, too. So you have a system that is set up basically where me, the taxpayer, can't prove anything. But on the other side of the coin, you guys can't prove anything because there is nothing, there's no paper trail. So now, so you disagree with my numbers, that's the number I heard, and I got it from our tax collector. But we're talking about $56,000 in fines that were collected from taxpayers, if my numbers are correct, that fell into this trap of not being able to have a physical receipt. All you need is a cashier. This year, I wanted to get a receipt, because you bet I got burned. So I'm looking for someone to give me a receipt. No one would take my payment. So I mailed it in, set in Novena, it got cashed. This is Russian roulette, and this is killing the taxpayers within this community. Now I get it, I don't live in Lansdowne, I own a house in Lansdowne. I don't vote in Lansdowne. My son does, and he lives in that house with his wife. So I just think, Mrs. Hoff, you're the representative, you're the elected official, there's something you want to look into the taxpayers in Lansdowne. I have no idea how many people in Halden fall into this. I have no idea how many fall in Union, East Lansdowne. I have no idea. The problem is you have, I'll say, a failure-ridden system of collecting taxes. And it's costing your taxpayers money. A lot of money. $700 in fines just for me. And I did nothing wrong. Not only that, I had to take a day off work and I'm a small business. I don't get paid. I don't billable hours. I run down to the county and pony up $5,500 cash.
I got you.
I've been here 18 years. Never missed a payment. Not the borough, not the school district, not Upper Darby, nowhere. So I have a track record that's pretty impressive. I personally would like you to issue a refund, but at least I would like you to entertain updating your system. It is just inexcusable. And you're holding me accountable for this system. And I have no proof. None. If I go to Wawa and get a coffee, I can get a receipt. So
We'll definitely have that conversation.
So when you make out your check, now you know how the system is. Can't you just do a photocopy of the bill and your check? And after so many days, you've seen that your check hasn't cleared your thing.
So I
Why
agree.
can't you just make stop payment and do
Mr.
another
Cuff and I
check?
had the same conversation. There's no guarantee.
I'm just saying, that if.
So if I put it in a mailbox and it gets lost in the mail, Or if it goes to a PO box, and I don't know who picks up the box, they lose it in their car. There's no paper trail. The burden of proof is on me.
Okay, this is what I'm saying, when you write out your check and
So
you
you
can
would
make.
accept that? Is that the bar? 'Cause I'll-
It's not the, I'm just saying if this
Is
is
that bar?
happening, I'm just making a suggestion. I am just making a suggestion, sir.
Right, but so if I came in with a copy and said, hey, listen, I nailed this in, you would accept that?
I'm saying, if you have a copy of your check, you go to your bank, the check has cleared your bank, and the time that it should have, why could you just stop payment on that check and write another check to the
And
tax?
that's a great advice. First of all, it'll probably pass the discounted amounts I've already paid fine. The de facto
Well,
fine.
then you can come back and say, you
But
know,
you're not, you already said you wouldn't accept that.
I didn't say that, I said I made a
Absolutely,
suggestion.
you just said it. That's
I
not
didn't
enough
say
proof.
what I would accept, I just made a
So you have some
suggestion to
delinquent,
you.
you're working on your delinquent accounts, that's something you should be looking at. And by the way, you're suing the state for more money. And I want to let you know, I think you got a money management problem. You can't get your collections right. So I'm just asking, and by the way, if you guys have trouble setting up an electronic signature, I'm in the computer business, I'll do it with my card.
Okay.
It is the easiest thing in the world to set up. There's a ton of apps now that do it. And there's really no excuse not to have an electronic portal. And there's no excuse not to have a cashier. By the way, next year, someone's gonna take my check. I will come here, I'll take my photograph with the check, because you guys are all agents. If you can accept a 4-foot cardboard check for a donation, you can accept my little check to make sure that you guys have it. And there's a chain of custody, because right now there's none.
Got it. Thanks.
Second thing, just real quick, there's a case going through the Supreme Court you guys might be interested in. It's saying, and it will probably pass unanimously, that the burden of proof is leaving from me, the taxpayer, to you, the government. And if that passes, you have to prove I didn't send a check. I no longer have to prove I sent it.
Got it. It's something that we will discuss. Thank you.
So, can I follow up to something about my refund?
So, we're not gonna refund your money. Because you wrote a check, it didn't clear. It got all the way till, it didn't clear for months. It gets all the way to, Jeff, where am I in the process?
So what happens is, so we went through the process. In December, we send out reminder letters to every parcel out there that is unpaid. So we send a courtesy
So I'm
reminder.
going to take issue with that?
Sir, can I finish?
No letter was sent, please.
Okay.
And it wasn't certified, so you have no proof. But no letter was sent.
So the process is, we send out a reminder letter to every parcel that is not paid in December. At that particular point, we send it out, courtesy reminding everyone that we do not have your payment for your property. And the end of February, we lien everything, it gets turned over to the county. At that particular point, the county processes all the information that they received, and they send out their letters sometime in mid-April to May to let folks know that there's a lien on their property for unpaid taxes.
And the findings assessed.
Correct.
So the letter that you sent out in December, I never received.
Okay. The letter gets sent out, every letter gets sent out.
So everything I'm saying here, do you see this? He can say whatever he wants, and I can say whatever I want. There's no paper trail. So I'm being held accountable for this system. And that's my issue.
Got it.
And I would like a refund.
Okay. The board's not going to take action on that tonight regardless, right?
Sure, and I'm
you
going to work
understand
with
that.
someone
Right.
to be reasonable.
Right.
If you say that you're not going to give back the money and you haven't even conducted an investigation, I have a little trouble that it's a little biased.
I'm saying, no, they're not going to take action on a refund tonight. They couldn't, I mean, that would be irresponsible to take action on it tonight without knowing not just your situation, but also whether the systemic problem you're describing is.
So I'm concerned that you're going to do an unbiased investigation. You just said I wouldn't get paid, you said I wouldn't get paid, and now you're going to conduct an investigation. So you've already decided you're not going to return the money regardless of the outcome of the investigation. So I'm wondering if we need to have the state or someone else do it. Because I just can't accept that 80 people 4 months ago had this problem and nothing happened.
Okay.
Can I please say something?
Yes.
All right, I don't know your first name.
Jim Burrows.
Jim Burrows. I'm not even
Boroughs,
kidding.
our-
I work with Jack Dale, the county, in regards to delinquent taxes and what have you, put them on a payment plan. We have 40 foreclosures in East Lansdowne, school taxes. Darby has been unreal. And they don't even know why they're in foreclosure, because according to them, they paid, but it never got the check. So there's something going on here. I've been investigating this for about 2 years. Yay, you have about 30 foreclosures. I'm gonna know why. I'm gonna know why. Because they're not only people at our age, they're senior citizens that can't come up with the payment. Now, the lockbox thing, it doesn't work. We used to be able to pay our payment at the CS Bank, Citizens Bank.
Years ago, we were a Citizen. A couple years ago, we were at Wells. We had-
Okay, forget about Wells. All right. Why can't we go back to the bank and make our payment there? My payment comes out of my mortgage. So I know my mortgage says, yo, you ain't got enough in your escrow. You're short, you gotta pay. Okay, I'll pay that. But in this guy's retrospective on what he's going through, it shouldn't be going this way. I don't have a tax collector in East Lansdowne. We as school board directors cannot be tax collectors. That's in the bylaws. My husband offered, but they won't let him do it. We have a critical situation. I think the lockbox thing stinks.
I'm with you.
I really do. And that, it does. I believe you'd be able to come here and give Jeff the check. He then gives you a letter and says, here, you're paid. We need a paper trail. I've been working on this for so long, and it's so frustrating that lockbox thing
It's a
stinks.
black hole. In 18 years, I've always paid, and then last year, I guess I drew a hole in the chain.
Okay, we will discuss that at a future subcommittee meeting. Thank you very much.
So you're gonna be back?
Mr. Cuff will get back to you.
Okay,
Thank you.
when?
We have some work to do, so.
Well, we have to investigate what you're saying first, because we can't make a decision or anything. I understand you did hear a decision, but first we have to find out exactly all the things that you stated. You know, you are actually the first resident that actually has brought this up to us. So we do have to do a thorough investigation before we can give you anything, or we can even say, this is what you deserve.
So
So,
that's the way you respond. Let's do the investigation and then actually see if there's any revenue done. Not, no, you're not getting your money, oh, it won't die.
Well, I've talked to a few more, first of all, I'm one vote, and I've talked to a few more people than Ms. Boykins, so I can have, I was stating my opinion. We will meet as a group, and we will talk about this.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you for letting us know about this.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Non-agenda item? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Lisa Marie Ivory, and I live in Lansdowne. I grew up in Lansdowne. I currently still reside at the same home where I grew up in now. This was actually my elementary school. I graduated from Penn High School.
Class 86.
Class of 86. Okay. Today I am here to talk about the preservation of the historic Nile Swim Club of Yale. My mother was an original plaintiff with the Lansdowne Swim Club. Back in 1989, it was United States versus the Lansdowne Swim Club. She attempted to gain a membership there and she was denied. She went through that process along with 7 other families during that court case. You can Google it and her name is there, Ellen Frances Ivory. So that is a part of the reason why the Nile runs so deep for me, the passion that I have for the club. Been a member since I was 10 years old. One of the kids that swam even when it rained. They said thunder, that's the only time I got out. As an adult, I have witnessed the ups and downs of the club. You know, I've seen it in its heyday when it was fabulous. I've also seen it when the board is not functioning properly and things are dysfunctional just like a family. And those are the times that have caused the club to kind of hit rock bottom, which is what happened, I would say, probably last August until current, April 2018. In 2018, we formed a new board because at that point there were only maybe 2 or 3 board members left, and they had given all they could give at that point. We now have a brand new board. It is comprised of Chris Sample, who is actually Chief of Staff for Kenyatta Johnson. We have a prominent real estate investor who grew up in Yeadon, Anthony Patterson, who has joined the board. We have a dedicated swim instructor, Andre Andrews, who has been there for years teaching kids how to swim, along with several other business owners, retired professionals, school teachers, and committed club members. Things have changed in this short amount of time that we have been a part of the board. And I can tell you that because I was a part of the board in the past when things weren't going right, and I was fighting for things to go the right way, but people were fighting against me, of course, so I'm sure you all, you know how that goes. But we now finally have a board that is strong, we work together, we are transparent, we have integrity, and we're committed to seeing this African American institution remain and stay. We've also developed an advisory board that is comprised of Sam Patterson, who's a well-known businessman, Michael Pearson, who actually has a fabulous business that's located right in Yeadon, along with several others to help guide us through this process. Unfortunately, the club has never had a sustainability plan. They've always been just trying to survive because they only open for 3 months out the year, and the taxes are what they are. You guys know what they are, $30,000 or $40,000 a year. We just stand here united today to try to save the club and propel it forward with a service that we think will revolutionize the club, Yeadon, the school district, as well as the state. The program that we want to introduce in 2019 is called No Child Will Drown in Our Town. It would launch in 2019. It would be a comprehensive swim camp that would be housed there at the Nile. It would teach children life-saving techniques. They would be drown-proof. And then ultimately, if they are excited enough about swimming and they want to learn more, then they spend more time with Mr. Andre and they could move on to being, fabulous swimmers, possibly maybe even go to the Olympics or be on a swim team. That would be completely free, and that is what we want to give to the community. So we would start with Yeadon. All children that live in Yeadon would learn how to swim for free at this camp. We would then extend it to actually every town that falls under your school district. So all of these children would get an opportunity to come to the historic Nile Swim Club, learn how to swim for free. This would be funded by grants as well as private investors that we're working on now. We have a huge crowd rise campaign that is in existence now. But of course, as you all know, the biggest problem and the biggest issue we have today is the tax issue. And that has been a mounting issue. The club has attempted several times to file for bankruptcy, but because of the mismanagement and perhaps people just not understanding how things work, they weren't able to reorganize themselves and devise a plan. We have a plan, and we have all the right people in place now. And what we're asking for you to at least consider is to waive the penalties and fees because they are so high. They are over $80,000 in penalties and fees. Wow. And if we can possibly have a discussion about bringing that down or even taking that away, we are working diligently to have people that will step up and pay exactly what the taxes do in time within our payment plan so that by 2019, we can operate, we can save these children from drowning, and we can become a place in the United States that says, we're changing the percentages of black children that can't swim or that drown. And we would be the only ones doing it. And it would be in your district. You need to think about it.
Everybody can see what's on the board. Please stand so that you can recognize.
So, yes.
Well, I was asking because earlier in our executive session, we were told that things that were going on with the Nile with regard to that. And I asked if I could ask a question because I came onto the board in 2016. And in 2016, it was discussions about taxes and the Nile being about to close. And the biggest question that I wanted to know, which you've already answered, was what was the differences from then versus now? And it seems like we've aligned ourselves and put certain people in that position. We also were told as a board that we can't make promises tonight of saying that we can help because we know what's going on. Even if today, if we made an arrangement or said anything, we can't do that as a board. But I'm glad that you stated exactly what are the differences, because the biggest question I wanted to know, what was the difference between 2016 to now, And have we aligned ourselves accordingly? And it sounds like that we have. The second thing that I want to bring up is that in 2016, we did talk about, is there a way that we can work with the Nile? Because Penwood does not have a swim team. Penwood, we don't even entertain that area for athletics. So I was wondering, I had brought this up in 2016, can we have a discussion with the Nile? Today, I've asked that same question in executive session, and I was told that it wasn't
Can we not actually say what we said in executive?
Okay, so let me put it this way, okay? I asked, did we ever have a discussion with the Nile about this?
Okay, we're just not gonna talk about what we talked about in executive session.
Okay,
So
if you go back to a board meeting in 2016, you'll see that in a board meeting in 2016, I asked that question. Can we have these discussions to try to figure out, to try to work with the Nile in some type of way? So if you go back to the minutes in 2016, I stated that not in just exec session, but I stated in an actual board meeting. But what I would like to say is I appreciate you coming here and explaining the importance of the Nile Swim Club. And also I appreciate the fact that you've made a board strong enough to sustain and you have ideas for the future, because that's what we need here. So I just want to say, from a representative from Colwyn and also from Yaden, I appreciate what you've done for the Nile Swim Club, and hopefully maybe in the future we can work together. I can't speak and say for sure, but I thank you. Thank you so much.
We are definitely under a time constraint.
Right, so here's where we are. So the sheriff's sale is September 12th. 13th. We as a body do not have the ability to stop that sale. Okay, we do not. So it's right.
And there's going to be, I'll look into it. I assume the board wants me to look into it. I don't even know how much discretion this board would have prior to the 13th to change what the sheriff calls the schedule of distribution. That is the amount owed to each. And I know you've looked at some of the financials. It's not just the real estate taxes. There's some payroll taxes that are owed. I believe there may even be some mortgage type stuff. But that schedule, we don't make it. Those numbers get reported by the Tax Claim Bureau and get put on the schedule by the sheriff. And I don't even know if this board has the authority at this stage to say, take this part off or remove this part.
They suggested that we come and speak with you. This is the president of the club. He's here.
Who suggested you come talk to us?
Mr. Jack Dow, is it? We met with Mr. Jack Dow, the treasurer.
I'll be honest with you, with the sheriff's sale, we cannot do anything.
No, we're not asking you to do anything about the sheriff, so we're asking you to eliminate the interest and penalty. We can pay the taxes, but you set the interest and penalty. You're the body who sets the interest and penalties. We pay the taxes. We have no choice. That tax is set, but you set your own interest and penalty. You set that yourself.
Some yes, some no. For example, the Tax Claim Bureau puts in 5%. Nothing to do with us. When it goes to the delinquent list.
We're asking you to do what you can. We're not here to dispute. I mean, it's 80% of the tax bill. It's loan shark. It's 80% of the tax bill. It's 80%.
Because it's multiplied over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I got it, but it's 80% of the tax bill. So, we're
just asking for you to take a look at it and not allow, again, this African American institution to go under. I understand all the things that have happened in the past. I've seen it happen. But I just don't think that you want this to happen. In the climate that we're living in, you just don't want that to happen. You just don't.
And so it's $108,000 in taxes, and your interest and pennies is $88,000.
I just have one more question. Is Yaden Borough supporting you on this? Do you have backing from your borough?
Well, we're getting ready to talk to the borough next, because their interest and penalties are just as high too.
And the county.
I'm trying to make sure that the information we're receiving and what you're saying is jiving. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get a firm understanding. So, go ahead.
We started here because this is the first meeting that was scheduled.
Let me comment that I'm the mayor of Yaden, and we can't allow the Nile to go under. And I've been to board meetings, and I can say, and all I could talk is that I could vouch for what this lady is saying. That they have reorganized. They're doing all that they can. They've reached out to us, and we're going to see what we could do. You know, like you, we can't promise. We can't promise, but we can't allow. This would be a big scourge. The crime would go up. Kids will have nothing at the, you know, there's a lot of other associated costs besides the financial that would ensue. We cannot allow the Nile to go on.
Can we see a copy of your plan? Can you email it to our business manager? And can you see what we can do? Okay?
And I just want to be sure. So what you would like us to do is to eliminate the interest and penalties.
Right.
Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure I was.
Excuse me, something I'd like to say.
Keep talking, that's just,
Something I'd like to say. First of all, I'd like to thank all the members from the Nile Swim Club coming out here tonight. I thought that was very pertinent. Also, that the Nile Swim Club is under really distress trying to meet their deadline. My recommendation, I probably would talk to you, at the end of this meeting, that we have to get a stay. We have to get a stay, and we're going to try to figure out the way to do that. Then we come back to the Penn School District after we get the stay to negotiate the interest and penalty that you recommend. Secondly, where I feel very appalling, that this is historic swim club. It's in the history books. And unfortunately, I'm going to hopefully make sure, with support maybe Mr. Washington and some others, that we teach our children in the Penn School District that we have living history right here at the Nile Swim Club. It's something that we can leave, that they can be very proud of, because somehow we, in our community, we seem to be giving away our culture. And we losing it. And I will hope this board will understand that. And it was like, when me Borkin said, I've been trying to work with the Nile Swim Club for the last 10 or 15 years. And does anybody really understand this organization, Nile Swim Club, has made? There was opportunity that some of those interest and penalty could have been resolved, but the leadership at that particular time that was here is gone. And also the leadership in the Nile Swim Club that was willing to move forward on that is gone. So we don't need to come here and say, we're going to look into it. This is our history. And I'm tired that we give away our history and we lose our history and culture. So we're going to make this work.
Okay, just so you know, Mr. Wright, there was never a recommendation
No, there was.
in the agreement in 2012, 2014, and 2016.
Let me make this clear to you. There was a recommendation, but it was personal. It was a personal recommendation. It wasn't involved, it was off the record.
Got it.
And then it was going to move forward. But unfortunately, we never got to that point.
Okay, I went through, and everyone at this board wants to support the Nile. Nobody wants to see the Nile go away, without any question, right? Like, without any question whatsoever, right? There is a limit to what we can do. Let's explore what we can do, what we can all do, and then we can see. It's, August 27th. We have till September 13th to try to figure this out.
September the 10th.
September the 10th.
And he said that he collects for you, he collects for, Mr. Dow said that they are collecting on your behalf.
Right, but as he also stated, we do not have the ability to stop this sale. Okay, so we have to come with a plan B.
But we can find someone who can stop the sale.
Right.
That would be awesome. All right, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm from Yaden, and I know Yaden Nile Swim Club's been around many, many years. There also was another swim club on the other end that I couldn't join because I lived in Orchard back then. I wasn't in the right section of town, I guess. My question is to you. Your fundraisers that you have, your crab and your whatever, is that helping you? Where does that money go? Is that going towards the tax payment? Or is it using for operation for your chemicals, for your pools, and what have you? So, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. It is used for operations. And it kind of goes everywhere, yes ma'am. So, I mean, it's used for operations because the daily operation of the pool is very costly. Having to have the proper number of lifeguards to be compliant is costly as well. That's, payroll is a big thing, because we have to ensure that we have all the right amount of people there, as well as the chemicals in the pool, as well as maintaining the grounds, the insurance and all of those things. So I think that in the past, that clearly they would have events, those monies would be dispersed where they could be, because you're just kind of like patching a hole, because you're just trying to get along, because you're only open for 3 months out the year. I mean, moving forward for us, we see us becoming a year-round facility so that we can do even more and provide even more for the community. So we did start a national Crowd Rise campaign, which is similar to GoFundMe, but Crowd Rise is for nonprofit organizations, which we do have the 501c3 status as well. So we've started that campaign. We launched that last week in hopes that that will show people that we are serious about receiving the monies and doing the right thing with the funds this time, as opposed to, we know that a fish fry and a crab feast and what have you are not going to get us the dollars that we need in order to get where we want to be.
Will cost more money than raising money, because I'm aware of that, because I used to do it at St. Charles. And that's why we stopped them, because the money we had to put out for the carnival, all the money we made went to the operation. So I get your point, I get your frustration. It's the only swim club in Yaden, whether it be for African American or white American. Okay, to put it out there, September 13th, September 10th, and Jack Dow actually sent you here?
Yes.
All
right,
so that's what I want to ask. Jen, please, I just want to I'm from Yaden, and I want to talk to the Yaden clientele, because I see what they're up against. I know what they're up against, and I'm sorry to hear that. We as a school district have been trying to work with you a lot of years. And I knew it even for when I was on the board. So, Godspeed, and I hope things work out.
We're ready to work with you, so we're ready to make it happen. And like I said, we have this is a full and complete board that is, we have spent countless hours. That's pretty much all we're doing. Like, we may be working our day jobs or at our businesses. Like, I have 2 businesses, but on the side, I'm doing all non-business, because I cannot let it go.
Yeah. I want to school with him.
And he's not. The only reason he's not here is because it's the end of the month and he's got people moving in and out of his properties. Otherwise, he would be standing here with us. But he is here in spirit. So.
Thank you, everyone. Please get your plan to Mr. Cuff, and our solicitor will follow up. Get his information afterwards, please. Anyone else?
Tangela James, Lansdowne Borough. I just wanted to know, is the bill list accessible to everybody? Is it online?
It's on our webpage.
It is on, okay. And also for after the kindergarten going into the first grade, how are the classes separated? Because I was told coming in that they were separated according to academics, which was not true. And I was wondering, and then I was told again, going into the first grade, they were separated according to academics. Is this true?
Mr. Diddlesbaum?
Mr. Diddlesbaum?
In our work, when you come to kindergarten, we try to create a heterogeneous class mix. So when you came, you did an interview with the teacher and your job was tested, and we mixed them up so that we had a good balance.
What was the test for?
Shape recognition, color recognition, letters, sight words, just to see where each child was, because when the children come into kindergarten, they come at all different levels, right? So we need to know where they are so that we can get them all to the same place before they go to first grade. So then in first grade, when we move them, because it's still developmental, we want that nice mix. But we now know some personalities and some things, so we do try to make that nice mix, not only a nice mix academically, but a nice mix socially, you know what I mean? So sometimes, children get along very well, and sometimes they don't, so we try to mix them up. That's how it's done. If you have a question about where your child's placed, stop by tomorrow and talk to me. We'll take a look.
To your office?
Yep, I'm in there. I've been there all summer. Come on in. We'll take a look.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else for non-agenda items?
First thing, just to piggyback in reference to the Nile Swim Club, we know how the Nile Swim Club started, and it's also a bridge from the past to our present because we had such celebrities as Will Smith there. And then we have one of our members of your school board, the school body, that runs past the Nile Swim Club 5:30 every morning. I see him. He's joined the Nile Swim Club, so it is very important to keep that going. One thing that we could do is actually, as a business, start supporting the Nile Swim Club. Maybe we should have trips there. Maybe we should post their link on our website since they're nonprofit. Maybe we as a school district can do a fundraiser for them, you know, to try to do things to help. Now, moving forward, non-agenda items, I want to say I'm very disappointed. We had a lady here a couple of months ago when you guys hired Gary Cooper, the principal guy, whatever, and she stated how things were not online. Now, you go online, you can go online right now, and the majority of these things are not on here. Like, the one about Miss Oates was on there, but the one about the two vice principals at the middle school, not on here. Started last week, not on here. I go online, it says Ursula Willis was terminated. Now I go in here, it says Ursula Willis resignation. Because you best believe when we went online and saw it, we called it right up and said, Ursula, they terminated you. And she had to call and now it's changed. It's a ton of things that's not online, so parents don't know whether or not, our community members don't know whether to come here and speak because they don't see anything. Like we went over this last time. But it seems though nothing has changed. These agendas do not match. Last things I know we all want to get out of here, burden of proof. Stood up here, talked to you guys about child guidance. You approved child guidance in July, correct? Okay, once again, that child guidance contract expires in June. ESY runs from July to August. Those kids in the anchor program have to have a continuation of services. That's why they are approved for ESY. So I'm trying to tell you guys to be proactive instead of reactive. Because what's going to happen, because if I'm a parent, and you don't offer that program, guess what? You're going to pay me to send my kid to an ESY program that does. Or if I'm the parent and I come in there, it can be used against us. So why are we not being proactive in regards to that? We also stated there was going to be an admin there every day. There was not. You need evidence, I'll provide that. It was not. We sat here and told you guys it was going to be, it was not. We told Ms. Boykins it was going to be a licensed therapist there. Did you go to the board that we hired a licensed therapist? No, we did not. Just because a parent doesn't step up doesn't mean you have to do the kid a disservice. Like seriously. Some parents are not active. Some parents take teachers at their word. And it's killing our kids. Seriously. So would you rather just do right or send all these kids to different schools that cost $2,000 every summer? Or get a ton of lawsuits? You guys are we were $1.9 million in debt. You gave child guidance $1.9 million over the last 3 years. You were told they did FBAs. We had a child guidance meeting. It was not advertised like it was supposed to, so none of you attended. You were not notified, even though we were told that we were going to be notified. I just happened to stop by and I was here. I recorded it. You can have the film if you want. We asked the people from child guidance, how many FBAs have you completed in the last 4 years since you've been here? Her response was a percentage, 100%, because we've done 0. How many behavior plans?
Yes.
0. I'm just finishing my point because I just want to make my point clear.
I would like to comment.
All right. Okay. Yes, all good. And the next thing, then we talked about the data. And they sat here and said that they don't do data. And that's the same thing we talked about a long time ago. And they just told y'all we don't. So stop making ourselves, let's just be proactive instead of reactive. That's all I'm saying. No blame game. We can work together and just get it done. That's all I want. That's all. That's it.
So, Mr. Carpenter, to comment with the addressing the child guidance, I was here in that meeting as well. Just speaking to the public, what we found is that certain comments or things that people thought child guidance was responsible for, child guidance was not responsible for. So things that we were stating that child guidance was responsible for they were not responsible for. Such as when we talked about the data and we talked about certain services that we thought that they provided, they did not provide. So in that meeting, it wasn't, and Mr. Carpenter, I have to take a step back to say that we're saying things and we're not doing them. We found out that certain things that we had set aside and said child guidance is supposed to do, they're not supposed to do it. So that's what we found out in that meeting. So what happened was, I believe Mr. McKay, we talked about certain things, information that, and Jane talked about certain information that was supposed to be provided, for child guidance to do and what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. So I think that you will see a revamp of that because that meeting was just held not too long ago, and I feel like we have to get our things in order. As far as you had discussed, I believe, something on the website with the school improvement plan and things of that nature. So we had to take a look at that and revamp everything that we put out there. Because we did find in that meeting that certain things that we thought child guidance was supposed to be handling, they were not handling because, one, not just because they weren't told to, but it really wasn't in their under the, what I want to say, their responsibility. So we found out a lot of stuff out of that meeting as well. So the statements that you're bringing up with regard to child guidance, what I just want to say is that we are working on addressing those comments because those things that you brought up prior to this, we did find, okay, this is not correct. How are we going to align? So what I will say is if you find something now at the start of school that things aren't aligned or things that child guidance we have that child guidance is supposed to do that we find that there's some error, then please bring that. But when we go back and say, okay, this is what happened, no, we found out that there was some error. You're absolutely right. There was some error. It's our job. Give us time at least to fix it. So this coming school year, if you see things aren't aligned, how we talk with regard to child guidance, please let us know.
And that's the thing, just now we'll go back and forth thing. I never blamed you guys at all. I never said it was your fault. But for the last 3 years, I've been standing up here saying this, and everything I've said, there will be a rebuttal from someone presenting false information to you guys. I'm not blaming y'all. I'm not at all. I'm not blaming you guys at all.
But when you say be proactive, I feel like that's what we're doing. You know, you brought up concerns. Definitely, you stating your concerns. Did it help us? Did it bring light on the situation? Yes, it did. So as a board and as admin, we have to now act on those things. So I'm just asking you to give us time to act on those things because you should see a difference. There should be a difference.
I definitely agree. Yeah. So you guys, like I said, you guys got them in. It's definitely going to be a difference. I was just like, I've been doing it for 3 years though. Like how long? Yeah, 3 years is a long time. That's all. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, nothing against y'all. That's all.
Mike, one of the recommendations came up, the child guidance, who were requesting for them to make a presentation. Correct me if I'm wrong, was this the first time they made the presentation?
No, they made a presentation when they started with us.
How long ago that was?
I don't recall, but at this meeting, we asked for a review in the February, March.
But one thing that we've been asking for every year, so I can agree with Randy Carpenter saying, we ask for a report for everybody that we do contract with and we don't get a report. Or we can make sure the child guidance gives a report this year, what they was, and then come back and make the presentation and say this is what we did, have the information and the data that they say they didn't have, and to move forward, and then we make a decision whether we want to renew the contract with child guidance.
Yes. Yes, and that's what we've moved on to do from that meeting because that's what came out of it. We seen that the data that was being collected, nobody was analyzing it. And we did tell child guidance, we need reports now. And we agreed on that because that was not being done before. And to me, it's okay to say it wasn't being done before because we're trying to right some of the wrongs that was done prior. So to have them to come out and give a presentation, I personally think that's a plus. That's moving forward in the right direction.
They still use the supervisor, right? And they're still on the supervisor for free on site?
It's part of the, yes, it's part of the agreement.
And you guys have talked to that person to ensure this is going to happen?
I personally have not. I really pass it to our special education director. She can answer that.
Did you talk to the actual supervisor that's going to be on site at the school in terms of like what the expectations are this year?
We have had multiple meetings with child guidance. They have just hired, the previous supervisor has moved on, and they've just hired a new one who I have not yet met, but I will be meeting very shortly. This is the
That's enough, okay.
Are you referring to the supervisor that with regard to observing the classrooms and things of that nature, or any issues?
On-site person, yeah. She went and got another job over a month ago. And they hired someone else. I was just seeing if you guys met that person yet. But she said no. Okay.
Her start date is September 11th or 13th. I don't remember.
When did the kids start?
We start the 4th. Okay.
All right, any other comments? Non-agenda item? Mr. Wright?
It's very late. So what I'm plan to do, I'll probably meet, I'll probably get a sneak peek, meeting tomorrow, and I'll probably talk to Ms. Oates, and maybe then I will meet with Aramark if we do, facility walk, and then we come back and report, and make sure it is in the property, make sure we move forward, because I have some serious concerns what I saw the other day that can cause us a liability.
Got it. Anyone else?
My date for education, make a date for education.
Can you talk to Mr. McKay so we make sure we get the right date?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be emailing school board directors for a date for community relations early next week to talk about our listening sessions.
But then how do we get it out to the public? Because remember you said we
No,
had to advertise.
this is not for the listening sessions, this is to plan the listening sessions.
Okay, what I'm saying is I didn't have an education date, and I know that.
Right, we don't, either one of us don't have dates.
Okay.
So these are for the listening sessions.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about community relation. Education, I wanted to know if September 27th worked, because to get it out into the public. Because,
I can answer that.
for, what, my date for September 27th?
Yes.
Okay.
You have something, don't you?
Yes, you're right. That's why I was on this education report, but we didn't get around to it.
Okay.
September the 20th, we're going to have a personnel meeting. And we're gonna
20th
meet-
or 27th?
Say it again?
20th or 27th?
Excuse me, I'm mentioning both of them. September the 20th, we're going to have a personnel meeting, which is going to be separate. And I recommend that everybody here can attend, because hopefully we can move forward and rectify some of the concerns that was raised in the
Has
night.
Mr. Conley approved that date?
Yes, he has.
Okay, I'm
All
sorry,
right,
because it's not
September,
money.
no, he said it wasn't on there. September 27th, then we're gonna have a minority representation diversity meeting.
Well, hold on, wait, 1 second, Mr. Ray.
Okay, so we asked that we set meetings when the board's around so we can all make sure that the most of us can attend.
So that's, the personnel meeting's the 20th, that's a week apart.
Right, but you're grabbing a lot of dates, and Mo with Ms. Boykins would like to have a date. So is there any chance that your diversity can go back to the first Thursday of the month? It's
I like
just,
what I'm saying, I like to have both.
it's
what I'm
just a week
saying is,
later.
I have no problem if you want to have a meeting, then I can make it diversity meeting the 26th. Because all the board members do not attend. I don't understand where you're going, all the board members do not attend the diversity meeting.
Right.
So, but everybody who's a part of, come to diversity, they come continuously repeatedly. So no matter what date I set up, some members don't show.
Have you checked that diversity meeting with your diversity committee that shows all the time?
Oh, yes.
Jamise,
Yes, I do.
you did.
No, what I'm saying is, I didn't particularly set it this time because I set up one.
It's all
I
right,
said-
if he wants the 20, I have no problem with it. If you want the 2027, I will reschedule, I'll pick a different date for education meeting, I'll send the email out.
I know.
I just felt
Can you
like since
check
the
with
public.
Mr. McKay first?
Yeah, I was thinking since
Oh,
the
excuse me,
public is
Mr.
here,
Khan, can you come in, please?
to make sure that that information gets out to the public. That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Mr. Khan, can you come in, please? Did we not talk, can you come in, please, so everybody can see?
Announce it.
Did we not talk about 3 weeks ago
It's no big deal.
about those
Go
dates?
ahead, let him pick his dates, I'll announce it at the September meeting.
Mr. Khan, you can nod your head, can't hear. Say it again?
So,
20th and
He said the 20th and.
again, and this is a repeat request, that the board, that we try to set meetings during board meetings so we can have other influence and to make sure the most school board directors can attend. Have you talked to these dates with your personnel committee?
Just, this time I didn't.
Okay,
But what I'm saying, there's an urgency. If you look at today's agenda, we talk about all the resignations, and we ask for action report, this is an emergency.
okay, and just so you know, it's interesting, because I went back to last August's agenda, and it looked very similar. So this year doesn't seem to be extra special to me.
But this is not similar.
Well, agenda to agenda, it is similar.
Well, if you look, I'm looking at people. It's a difference.
I got you.
Okay, so September 20th, what's going on? Is the personnel?
Is personnel, September 20th is personnel,
Uh-huh.
September 27th is diversity.
Okay, thank you.
Ask a question?
Yeah.
I know sometimes with staff meetings, is there a reason why we can't do that with some of these?
Those, they're all pretty long. They're all pretty long.
I have no problem pushing my back. It's not a big thing. That actually gives us more time. I have no
I was
problem.
just thinking it more from like a perspective of like, once you're out, it allows you to kind of, you know, for people to come. It's easier
Get
than
everything
coming
done
out
at
to like
once.
a bunch of meetings sometimes, but I understand if they're too long, you can't just do that.
So may I ask, is anyone available September 4th to meet with community relations?
September 4th is the first day back to school.
Yes.
And that's joining Clinton's back.
That's the back, yeah.
Yeah, Joanna McClinton.
Yeah, what?
Okay. All right, so I'll send them out some other dates. All right, anything else? Yes, ma'am.
What is the status on the new school?
You said it's going to middle school? What is it?
New school.
Is it still active?
Like, is it active?
Yeah, you have a trailer of kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
The way you said it.
You know what new school?
Yes. They're no longer in the trailer, they're now in the building.
Is it still 2 teachers, 2 IAs, and 4 kids?
It never was 2 IAs, it's still 2 teachers and 1 IA.
How many students?
If they all show up, we are scheduled for 14 right now.
How many did you have last year? 4. 4 kids, 4 adults.
All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a good day. Oh, I'm sorry. Our next dates are September 17th at 6:30 and September 24th at 7:30.
Mr. Brown, that's the foundation.